The CBR600RR, also known as the greatest motorcycle ever created. Well, at least in my opinion. For the past 2 decades, the CBR600RR has been Honda's middleweight supersport bike. The first generation was released 20 years ago in 2003, and if you're interested, I've created a comprehensive history video on the CBR600RR. You can find a link below. Personally, the CBR600 is my favorite motorcycle. I've owned a 2008 model for the past 8 years, and I have no intentions of ever selling it. However, I must admit that the recent announcement by Honda stating that the brand new CBR600RR will finally be available for the European market is quite tempting. As you guys can probably tell by my voice, I'm from the United States, and currently there is no official news regarding the release of the CBR600RR in the US markets. Nevertheless though, I firmly believe that it will happen, and I'll explain why. Before delving into the reasons behind my belief, let's first discuss this bike and provide an overview. Let's start with the specifications. The CBR600RR boasts 119 horsepower and has a curb weight of 428 pounds. Interestingly, when this version of the bike was initially announced in 2021, it was quoted to have 121 horsepower. However, it seems that Euro 5 regulations may have reduced the power by just a tiny bit. Now let's compare it to the original 2007 CBR600RR, which essentially shares the same engine with a few minor internal changes. The 2007 model produces 118 horsepower and weighs 410 pounds. So you gain 1 extra horsepower at the expense of 18 additional pounds. Admittedly, in stock form, the old 600 is superior. However, once modified, I'm not so sure. By removing the full OEM exhaust from the new CBR600RR and getting it tuned, I'm sure you can add some serious power and drop some serious weight. How much exactly, I'm not sure, but I'd wager it would be a fairly significant amount. Honda continues to offer their undertail exhaust system for the 600RR despite its potential drawbacks in terms of weight and performance. The original 07 motor was specifically designed to work with this exhaust, which is likely why Honda continues to use it despite the added weight. However, there are some practical benefits to the exhaust system. It is safer as there are a lower risk of burning yourself, and it provides an even weight distribution from side to side. Additionally, it has a visually appealing design that I personally love. However, it is important to note that if you are someone that requires a usable trunk, the undertail exhaust may not provide sufficient space, as it can only accommodate small items such as your registration. Moving back to the new 600, it does have a lower power to weight ratio compared to its predecessor. However, it is overall an improved model, featuring a new lightweight twin spar aluminum frame, 41mm Showa big piston inverted front forks, and a Pro-Link Showa shock. Despite the additional weight penalty, the new 600 is expected to be the most agile and best handling CBR600RR ever produced. And one of the key improvements in this model is its aerodynamics, which has been enhanced through updated fairings that include winglets. Yes, winglets on a 600. While some may question the necessity of winglets on a 119 horsepower bike, Honda claims that they do provide genuine downforce during acceleration and corner entry. And in keeping with the bodywork, the winglets on this bike are bound to be a love it or hate it feature. Unfortunately, they cannot be removed, so hopefully you love them. However, the rest of the body is clean and aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. The side profile adopts a conservative design scheme, but I do appreciate the cuts on the bottom fairing there, which give it an aggressive yet cohesive appearance. The real highlight though is the back of the bike, particularly that glorious undertail exhaust, but that's not all. The tail fairing also features these vents in the front, which I personally just think look really cool, and these are an exact replica of the previous generation. It's evident that this model is an evolution of the predecessor, with slight differences in the bottom fairing, tank fairing, and of course the front fairing with the winglets and headlights. While I initially reviewed this bike in my video titled Why I Am Not Impressed with the 2021 CBR600RR, I mentioned that while I believe the aesthetics had improved, I wanted to draw attention to the placement of the turn signals. Yes, the turn signals. They seem like an afterthought, awkwardly positioned above the headlights. I still cannot fathom why Honda didn't integrate these into the mirrors. as they did with their Fireblade model. Nevertheless though, the appearance of this bike is polarizing. You either love it or hate it. However, when I conducted a poll on my channel for my 2022 600cc shootout video, asking viewers to vote for their favorite looking 600, the CBR600RR overwhelmingly emerged as the winner. Out of over 1,000 respondents, 53% chose the new 600. Granted, this was a new bike at the time and generated a lot of excitement, which may have influenced the results. Nevertheless though, this was a resounding victory, and it's safe to say the community just likes the new 600. Now let's delve into the significant changes that have been made to this bike. Although the bodywork has improved and the handling has been updated, in my opinion these changes alone are not enough to warrant an upgrade. However, Honda has introduced a plethora of new technology into their 600, which truly sets it apart from the competition. First and foremost, we have a state-of-the-art electronics package, highlighted by a 6-axis IMU. This IMU is essential for enabling lean angle sensitive cornering ABS, a feature that was previously exclusive to superbikes. Additionally, this bike boasts a 9-level traction control system, adjustable riding modes, and the ability to fine-tune your engine braking level. That last feature is particularly rare and can be incredibly useful in tailoring your bike's performance to your specific needs, whether you're riding on the track or the street. And my favorite upgrade of the 600RR is undoubtedly the full-color TFT display. This display provides a wealth of information at a glance, and it even includes the first ever gear indicator on a CBR600RR model. Thank God, Honda, it only took you like 20 years. However, this does come at a cost. Unfortunately, Honda has decided to remove the fuel gauge, a decision that I find incredibly frustrating. Nevertheless though, despite this drawback, the benefits of this beautiful full-color TFT display make it well worth it. Now, although I've been using the term brand new to describe the new 600RR, I should clarify that it is actually new to non-Japanese markets. This marks the first time that this new 600 model will be introduced to the EU markets, which is significant considering the absence of a CBR600RR in the EU market for over 5 years due to regulations. Currently, there are no information or announcements regarding the availability of the updated 600 model in the US. This is somewhat frustrating, but it is worth noting that obtaining a bike in the US is comparatively easier than in the EU, thanks to the less stringent emission regulations. Therefore, there is hope that this bike will eventually make its way to the US market, possibly in 2024 or the following year in 2025. I also want to point out that even though 5 years ago Europe stopped producing the 600 entirely, the US continued to make the last generation. So Honda has been generating sales from the US market already, so it makes sense that they made it a priority to invest into the EU market first, and I bet you it's going to make its way to the US market. It just seems that way to me. Now, if this bike does become available in the US, I personally do not plan on purchasing one, and there's a couple reasons why. First off, it's not because I don't think it's a fantastic bike or anything of that sort. I simply don't see a need to upgrade from my heavily modified 2008 model that I have a lot of nostalgia for. I applaud Honda for introducing this new model to the 600 class, which has experienced a decline in sales in recent years. It's refreshing to see manufacturers like Kawasaki and Honda making efforts to provide updates. The new 600RR will be available in HRC Grand Prix Red and Matte Ballistic Black Metallic. Honda will also offer a comfort pack with an expandable tail bag, heated grips, and USB-C charging, as well as a track-only HRC race kit. I find this pretty interesting. Obviously, Honda acknowledges that they have no trunk space by having the expandable tail bag, but adding heated grips and USB-C charging is very interesting to me. It's almost like Honda's telling people, hey, this is a race bike and we do offer a track-only HRC race kit for it. However, as much as it is a race bike, it is still a street bike, and you can have heated grips and USB charging and a tail bag to make this thing practical on the street as well. In any case, I'm happy that this bike is being released, and I am excited and hopeful that it will soon be available in the US, and I am eagerly anticipating the opportunity to see one in person for the first time. But I am curious what you guys think of this new bike. How many of you plan on buying one, and what is a feature you would like to see Honda add to their new 600? Anyway, I hope you found value in this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to receive more motorcycle related content like this. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.
my